All right. Yo. What's popping? What's good? What's good? What's good? We here. Rashibi in the building. Killing's probably gonna come through in a second. But yeah, man. So today's title is "How to Retire Your Child with $3,000." So what's that about, man?
Yeah, what's that about, money?
Yeah, man. It's about setting your kid up for retirement, literally by retirement age. What do we mean by that? Ultimately, for the cost of $3,000 a year, if you get a policy for a child at a young age, by the time they're 65, they will have $1 million in cash value.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You break down the math on that. It's about what $260 a month or something like that, which is not a bad deal. But literally by the time, like I said, they retire, you can't knock that, because when you do the math, 3,000 times, say 50 years or whatever the case is, that's 150,000 or 170,000. I have a calculator in front of me, but you're getting back $1 million. The rate of return on that, you know what I mean, is 800,000. The rate of return on that's 800,000. So that's why it's one of those things where you really can't beat that, and that's just a basic policy.
Right. I just want to point something out. Notice the simple fact that we didn't do a show last week and there's only 2 niggas in here now. I just want to show that. It's real shit. That's how fickle YouTube audiences are, bro. That's how fickle YouTube audiences are. So just know that, it's a whole thing, and that's why you can't be, canceling shows is not a good idea at all, ever.
No, it's not. Consistency is key.
Consistency. Because look, it's only 3 people in here now. Last week we was in the 40s and shit. Somebody just got in and made a fucking comment.
Right. What up, OG Loc? So basically you're saying that, so if you so 3,000 a year, so is that, how many years do you do that for? If you do that for
pretty much that was based off of starting around 8 years old, roughly around 8 years old. Okay, so essentially that's 57 years. 57 years. Wow.
That's crazy. So from 8 years old till they turn like 60 something, you feel what I'm saying? Then Correct. They would have the cash value of over $1 million in they joint. So they could use that money and basically live off that.
Exactly.
That's dope. That's a dope concept, actually. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, you know what I mean? Because the thing is, if we got all these people who are 65 now that got to go get a job, you know what I'm saying, at Walmart and shit, you know what I'm saying? So if they had some shit where you could set something up to where that'll happen, when you're around that age, you got that nest egg, and that's dope. So how do people do this specifically? How do they gotta go to real estate finance?
Correct. Literally, it's a scenario where you just call us and we'll set up an IUL policy. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and actually do the projections. So essentially, we'll do a sit down like normal. Go over your child's date of birth, social security, all that type of stuff, punch in the information, and we'll go ahead and get you a policy. And the thing about that is, that's just one policy, a basic policy of maybe a $100,000 limit, $150,000 limit. So you have the choice of picking different policies to get more money, but we just started off with that starting point. But it's just that simple. And getting a kid's policy, like I said, it could be dirt cheap, and that's just that type of policy. You can go a little bit less, you go for half of that, and retire with $500,000, and the policy only costs you $150, $140, $130 a month, which is nothing. Is nothing.
Right. That's crazy. That's dope. I think that's good for people who have kids, and to think ahead to make that shit happen. Because I think for example, if we're we all old niggas in this shit, we you know what I'm saying. So we imagine we had our parents do that shit for us when we was 8. You feel what I'm saying? Listen, you got $1 million gonna be in your shit by the time you're 65 and shit, man. That would have been great.
It's a real thing, bro, man. At the end of the day, man, because these policies get you money. I mean, that's why I always give the example of my pops and his policies. Growing up, he always be like, "Oh, the man take my money," and it turned out, when he retired, he had 15 life insurance policies. You know,
Mm.
and those are some of them were trash. But the point is, he was able to pull out $40,000 worth of cash value, and keep maybe about 2 or 3 of them, and still have another, I won't disclose the amount, but still have another 6-figure account when he does pass away, to where he can leave for the family or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? So, and that's crazy, and that's just picking bad policies and just anybody selling you random policies. When it's us, we're gonna actually give you real policies and tell you exactly how much you're getting, what it's worth, how it's positive, the pros, the cons, so you actually know what you're getting versus just some random life insurance rep just giving you a random policy just because it's hard to sell life insurance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
But you know what I would say though? I would say if you're gonna do this for your kid, don't tell him.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't tell him. I wouldn't tell him.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not sure if me personally, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not sure if I would work as hard if I knew I had $1 million waiting for me at 65. You feel me?
Right. Exactly.
You know, I'd probably, fuck my life up or act stupid or fuck around and have a kid unwantingly and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I'd do it, but not tell a kid, and then when they hit 65, then they get surprised with like a nice party, a nice parting gift or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit.
And it's interesting you say that, because that is a legit real thing. What I mean by that, a lot of times, to your point, a lot of these kids know that they have policies, and what ends up happening is they're counting the days that their parents died. literally, in situations like that. And that's why you find situations where they would even get rid of their parents, because that's a real thing. Like, that's why life insurance fraud is a real thing. Kids out here killing their parents. All kinds of people out here killing parents. That's why you hear people taking out policies. Like, you take out $1 million policy, and then 4 months later, somebody accidentally dies.
Right. What that movie? Remember that movie that came out the other day called Knives Out?
Right.
Yeah. Oh shit! You know what I just realized? Lucario looks like the black dude from John Wick 4.
Oh, that movie. Yeah, that wasn't the same guy. Remember you talking about the same? Yeah, that wasn't
it's not him. It's not him, right? Okay. Yeah.
He looked like him though, but that was it. But that was a good movie though. It was the third act was the shit though, because at first I'm watching this shit, I'm like, yeah, this is alright, this is decent. But then after, when that nigga was throwing niggas in the cars, I was like, okay, here we go.
Yo, that was the fucking scene.
I was like, this is why I came here.
This was like, that shit was the most beautiful shit. How they use traffic with the combat, like
exactly.
They mixed in cars with combat. I was like, yeah, these guys are on another level. But did you see it, Rashidi?
No, I ain't see it yet. I see part 1, part 2, part 3, but not part 4 yet.
Go over here. He laughing like he saw it.
I heard they coming out with part 5 too, because of the money. Yeah, because it's making a lot of money. So they said, fuck it, we're gonna do part 5. So
I don't want to say nothing crazy.
Yeah, so I know what you're probably gonna do, but we'll see. But back to the topic though, I want to ask this. So let's say you're doing this, you try to retire your child for $3,000. What happens if you aren't able to make the payments at a certain time, or like, let's say you got to stop for like 6 months and then go back? Like, what? How does that affect?
Yeah. What if you fall on hard times and you can't make that payment?
Right.
So that's why we have those conversations, because like those type of policies, universal life policies, they're built for that. What do I mean by that? That's why you overfund the policy, or that's why you build cash value. So when you do run into hard times, if you can't pay the payment, your cash value gets used up. So what will happen in that situation is, if you've been paying into it for 4 years, you got some leeways.
Yeah.
The insurance company will call you and tell you, like, hey, not really call you, they'll send you a letter saying, hey, okay, you missed this month payment, it's fine. You have $2,000 in cash value. Until you run out of cash value, that's the only time you're in danger.
Oh.
So the cash value will pay for.
But that's the whole point of the policy.
Yeah.
Right. So the cash value will pay for the months that you missing. So if you have $2,000 in cash value, and you was paying like $250, it'll keep going. It'll
eat it up. Exactly.
Right. Eat that up.
It'll keep going at least for the next 8 months.
Right.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And even in that same situation, to your point, that's why you want to have one of these policies, because they're also meant to borrow from in rainy days. Because just like how we said, you know, $1 million at 65, by the time your kid is 20, you know, they might be able to borrow $15,000-$20,000 on hard times, whether it's college, whether you need to borrow from the policy. It's, you know, it's you in complete control. So that's the whole goal about it, is that you can use it for a whole bunch of things, and it's tax free. So there's no taxes when you borrow it. So if you need to borrow a quick 20, you can borrow a quick 20 without having to pay for any taxes, and it doesn't count as your income. So you can't beat that.
Yeah, that's nice. That's real shit. That's what's up.
Right. So Baki said, how does the company get profit? How does that work?
What?
They get profit off you just like every other company. At the end of the day, you know, like you put your money in the bank, they're investing it. So the life insurance is literally 40% of the economy. Insurance is attached to everything. So they're making money off your money. So when you paying, you know, $100 a month, they're probably making $300 off your $100 every month. Remember, they're investing in the stocks. They're investing in other companies. That's how life insurance makes money. That's why they can give you that money. They're making quadruple the amount of money off of your money.
Right. That's dope. That's that game right there. Shit. You know what I'm saying? That's that game right there. Man. So like, let's say you're in a situation where you're paying the stuff on time. You know, you're getting a certain good amount of cash value. So when so you're saying you can take that cash value out and then just use it. Like, so let's say you got $2,000 of cash value. You say, hey, I want to take that $2,000 and then I use it or whatever, right? So now, but then it just starts over again. So it just starts like it starts over to make more cash value, or is it like
so to be clear, to answer your question, so it's layered. So it's two options in that scenario. You can take the cash out and you can decide I don't want to pay that back. If you decide not to pay it back, they subtract it from your total. So if you have $100,000 policy and your cash value is now at, you know, your cash value with everything's at 106,000 and you borrow 2,000 and you don't want to pay it back, your face value of your policy is 104,000. So they subtract the difference. Now, if you want to pay it back, you pay yourself back with interest. So you're just getting your money back and you don't lose anything. You're just paying yourself back in small increments and, you know, with interest, paying your own self back. So you have those two options. Where if I don't want to pay it back, or I'm gonna pay myself back with some interest on top of it.
That's crazy. That's insane. That's crazy. Wow. So like, so if you're in a situation where, like, let's say you're that person who's turning 65 or whatever, right? And you got that what you said, is it like over $1 million in cash value? Is that what it is?
Correct.
Right. And so what if that, like, how could that person say, okay, I want to get this $1 million and I want to like reinvest it, or, you know, put it back into the system? Like, is there a way for them to say, hey, I want to drop this $1 million into something so that I can, like the same situation. He said, I'm going to drop the $1 million back into it so I can make more money off the $1 million. Like, how does that work? Like, as far as
so,
and like, what would be like the amount of money they could still like live off of that? You know what I'm saying?
So to your point, Mr. Carlos, it's exactly what you just said. So that's why it's good to have it, because you can take that money, you can buy more life insurance policies and double up your money. Or you can invest in real estate or stocks or whatever you want to do, because that's the tax exemption. So the reason why I say that, all these millionaires and billionaires have these policies. So think about this. You have 500,000, you could pull $200,000 out tax free, pay yourself back and go buy a house or put a down payment on an investment property. So that's exactly it. Or you can get another life insurance policy. That's why when we start you up, we just start you up with that first policy to start up with. But the truth is, if you start young, you get 3, 4, 5 of those policies. By the time you're 65, you will have like $5 to $10 million to sit with, of creating residual income. It's all a game. It's just a matter of where you at. The earlier you get it, the better. The more money you could borrow, a lot faster. So you know, you have a situation where you get your kid a policy and they turn 25. You could be like, all right, let's go ahead and get your first business. Let's go ahead and take out 200,000, get your first business. Or let's go ahead and take out 200,000 and let's go ahead and get yourself your first house, your first investment property. Get yourself a condo, rent out one room. The options is literally limited, unlimited, that you can do. You know, when it comes down to that.
Oh, that's dope. That shit is dope, man. So why do you think most people don't do this? Is they just don't know? You know what I'm saying? Like, they just have to,
People, let's be real here. People don't know, and life insurance is boring. Who talks
Right.
about life insurance? Matter of
Right.
fact, who talks about insurance? The only
Right.
insurance we know that we need to have is car insurance and our cell phone insurance, if we being honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? But insurance is that world that pays for everything. There's renters insurance for your apartment, meaning if you live in an apartment, you get renters insurance. You catch it's a fire, somebody break into your thing, you could get $10,000 worth of personal items back. Get a check for $10,000 for personal items, but nobody knows about that. You know what I mean? So nobody preaches insurance. Nobody talks about how deep it gets, but it's crazy when it comes to insurance. I mean, insurance is attached to everything, but life insurance is boring, bro. Nobody wants to talk about death. It's morbid. Nobody wants to admit that they're gonna die. And what do people normally say when it comes to life insurance? Well, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. I don't even need to leave anything for anybody. It's costing me too much money. You know what I mean? Like,
fuck them damn kids. Like
exactly. You know what I mean?
Right. And so like what happens if like let's say you do that for your kid and they die at like 50 or 55. So what happens to the money? You just
they die before they retire. What happened?
You got it on mute.
If they die before you retire, yeah, you get me?
Yeah. So like die at like 55. So it's like 10 years before they were supposed to get the money. So
then that money's gonna go to whoever's the beneficiary on there. So if you're a parent and you set the policy and you never gave them control, you kept the control of the policies, whoever you put down as the beneficiary, which is more than likely you yourself or whoever you want to put on. So if a parent did it and they kept paying the policy or kept it in their name or whatever the case is as the owner, you know, they probably put their name down on it so your parents wouldn't get the money. Or if they put down, you know, another sibling, a brother, a sister, a cousin, that person's gonna get the money. And that's the key thing about life insurance. When you die, whoever is supposed to get that money, they're gonna get that money. Right. Who wants to get that money, they're gonna get it.
Right. Kayleen, what up? You good?
What's going on, man? Yeah, man. Had some major technical difficulties, but I'm here, man. What's going on?
Right. So what's your take on this topic? Because he's talking about, you know, how we think it's good that people can do this and more people should be able to do this. What's your take on all of this?
Oh, 100%. I think everyone should be doing this. I mean, it's a no-brainer at this point. I mean, think about it. Everybody who is a parent, right, who has children, or even if you don't have children, if you connected to a child in any way, shape, or form, their best interest comes from you doing the right things from when they're younger. As soon as the child is born, literally 2 weeks after the child is born, they're allowed to get a life insurance policy. And with by the time they get to 65, they'll have over $1 million. If you structure right, sometimes 1.5, it can be close to $2 million that child could have if you set up this structure properly. You know, and that's you just putting in annual premium of $3,000 a year. That's a little over $300 a month. That's nothing. That's nothing. Think about how much we spend on our children today. And I mean that we in a general aspect. So if you just put that away every month from the time the child is born all the way until they reach 60, he or she reaches 65, that's less than $200,000. So if you get $1.5 million, you done 10 times, almost 15 times your money at that point. You get what I'm saying? And obviously, when the child turns 65, they're going to be grown. At some point, they'll take over the payments. But the point is that they'll have something to where they can retire. They don't have to worry about how they're going to live out their retirement. And that's just one, tool or one avenue that they can use, not including any other thing that they may venture into in the future.
Real quick, when you say 3,000, you mean 3,000 a year, right?
3,000 a year, yes.
So that's like $250 a month.
Yeah, around there, yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And real quick too, Kayleen, did you see John Wick 4?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, y'all niggas.
I didn't see it. I want to see it though. I didn't
y'all niggas. Well, RKT's too busy, huh? RKT, a lot of wheeling and dealings, huh? All right, gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it, but yeah, man, that's the best thing that you can do. Myself and Rashidi can definitely help someone help their children in the best way possible. To me, this is the best thing since sliced bread. You know, you can't go wrong in this situation because you're literally just prepping for your child's future. Everybody wants to prep for their child's future, because and the truth is, it's the way the mind works. It's so far away from now. It's like what 60 years, 65 years from now. So who knows what's going to happen at that time? But
Right.
the reality is, it's like you still want to plan for it. You still want to be in the best position possible for that time, you know?
Yeah, because I think that, when you get to that age, nobody don't want to be working and doing a bunch of crazy shit and going, you know what I'm saying? Like at that point, that's when people, retire and want to chill and do whatever they got to do. So if you got that nest egg there, you might as well. And it's not like, because what I like about this type of stuff is these are things you can do where you almost like sort of set it and forget it. You just, you know what I'm saying? Like you just up and then just let it do what it got to do. Right. And by the time, shit goes down, you're like, oh shit, yeah, let me tap back into that situation. You know what I'm saying?
But here's a question I have. How does it work if you just want to live off of that?
So you can't really necessarily, I mean, you can live off of it, depending on how much cash value you accumulate. So it's really just one of those things where, if you get a $150,000 policy, but you have 300,000, you have 150,000, you have 10, 15 years from now, you have extra 150,000 in cash. You can pull that money out.
No. I mean, sorry to cut you, but I mean, when I say live off it, I mean like you retiring, like you hit 65 and it's time for you to access it now. Like, and nobody, like I said, because Kayleen, we also said this earlier that if I did it for my kid, I wouldn't tell them until later. So I wouldn't tell them until like a certain point in time where I'd be like, probably wouldn't even let them know till I was on my deathbed. Like, listen, man, I got like you know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't want to tell my kid too early and then they fuck around and not work hard like they should throughout their life. Right. You get what I'm saying? So we was talking about that earlier. But what I'm saying is, let's just say I reach 65 and my dad, he on his deathbed, he was like, hey, son, I had this thing set up for you to retire and you got like 1.5 million in the bank when you reach 65, right? And I just want to live off of that. Do they have a setup for that where I just live off of the cash value, or there's like a certain amount of money dispensed to me, or I could live off the interest based on the market at the time? Like, how does that work?
So what happens is throughout that course of time from the time the child is born until 65, whatever is accumulated in that cash value, you have access to. So it's just think about it like going to the bank, and obviously if you go to the bank, you can't just take out $1.5 million. They don't have the actual liquid there. Right. However, you still have that line of credit. So when you want to take that $1.5 million, all you got to do is call an insurance company, because it's your money, it's in your account.
Right.
Or you call the insurance company and let them know that you want to borrow against that loan, not withdraw. If you withdraw, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that money. But if you borrow against it, quote unquote, you don't owe no taxes on that money. So all you got to do is just a simple phone call away. You sign some paperwork that they're gonna be taking that you're gonna be taking your cash value, and it's as quick as 1, 2, 3.
So in that type of situation, what would be the smartest way to do it? Should I borrow against it and like say I created a budget for myself. So I'm 65 and I'm retiring, and I know, okay, $3,000 a month is good for me. So that means that means 36,000 for the year is good for me. Would it make sense for me to borrow 36 each year and then let the rest of the money stand there and still accumulate value in the market? Or
that's an option. You can do that.
But that's what I'm saying. What options do they allow, and what's the best option?
Got you. So I mean, it's just go ahead.
No, guys, go ahead.
No, so it's just pretty much whatever you accumulate, and you just pull that money out, and then you make the decision. So they leave it all up to you. So it's all about just what you accumulated and then pulling that money out and doing what you do. Because remember, it's not set; it is the market. So it's one of those things where if you pull out 200,000 and you choose to pay yourself back, you can live off that money and pay yourself back, and then come back another 10, 15 years and pull out a different amount. So it's just really about when you accumulate all that cash, you make the decision on what you're going to do. But to even go even further with your point, Miles, you wouldn't have to do that, because the reality of the option that you gave, that would mean that the father or the parent would have had a policy on themselves and they're dying. So therefore you would have just took their policy and took their cash and lived off of that, and then had your policy and just continue to let your policy grow. And you can take our money if you want to be greedy, whatever the case is, but that's about it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Great. I see what you're saying. So everybody, if everybody got policies, I could live off my dead parent shit, and then my kids could live off my shit, and we keep generational wealth going that way.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. But see, I don't got no kids. Yeah.
You gotta stop.
I got to adapt, or I got to put something on my nephew or something.
Right, exactly. But that's crazy though, because see, I think and everything that we're talking about, I believe works when people have some sort of financial literacy, because then it makes sense for the person to flow with it like that. Because you know you're gonna have some people, you tell them, listen, I got a million something 1.5 for you when you turn 65, and they be like, word. So then they're gonna start 65, take out the whole 1.5 or whatever, or try to take out all the money, spend it on bitches and drinks and all that other drugs and all that, and then it's fucked off in like 3 months. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like they're back to nothing. So it's like, you know, I feel like with people who have good financial literacy, like you were saying, Miles, you could be like, listen, I'm gonna only take out $3,600 for the year or $36,000 for the year. You know, pay my bills, do what I got to do, and then let the other money accumulate more interest and do whatever I got to do, and then just could literally live off that for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because did I hear y'all say that if you do $3,000 a year from, let's just say from the age of 20, and you paying that $3,000 a year, what would be the accumulation like on average? Like what would be the number forecast by age 65?
Anywhere from 8 to 12%. But if you're talking about 20 years old, that's a different ballgame, because
okay. So what age were you talking about in the example? I'm sorry, because you said retire your child. So what are we talking about? We talking about age 3? We talking about newborn? What are we talking about?
Yeah, like I'm talking about like a newborn, like
newborn. Okay, so we talking about 65 years then.
Correct.
Okay, so what are we looking at as far as the forecast? Like, what's the money range we talking that's going to be in the cash value that we looking at if we pay $3,000 a year for 65 years? What are we looking at?
Anywhere from $1.5 to $2 million.
Okay. I just wanted to be
so
be
you
sure
would have mathematically invested about $200,000 at that point over that time frame. But like by Kevin's point, you would have walked away to 1.5, potentially 1.5. So you really came off of 1.3, interest. And remember, it's these policies about 8 to 12% of interest plus compounding interest over the years. So it's just like
I want the people watching it to understand what we're saying, because if it's $3,000 a year for 65 years, that's only $195,000. But what everybody got to understand is compounding interest based on the markets is what's going to get you to 1.5 million. You understand what I'm saying? Correct. And I'm not sure if everybody fully understands what I'm saying. So that's why if you got if you do it right and you do have 1.5 million, that's how you can set your budget and live off it for the rest of time. Because if you got 1.5 million and you realize, hey, I'm about to retire at age 65 and all I really need is, $3,000 to $5,000 a month to live. So that means $5,000 for 12 months, that's $60,000. That's an average nigga salary. That's better than the average nigga salary, right? So you pull that money out of the 1.5 million, you pull 60 out, but you leave the 1.5 minus 60, you leave that in the market. You leave that in the policy to continue compounding, to continue the thing. So when you go back to take another 60 next year, borrow against another 60, not pull out, not withdraw, but borrow because you don't want to get taxed, right?
Right.
Correct.
Right. So you do that, right? So so that's what we need to understand, and we also need to understand that it's not a free for all to just spend money. You do have to budget. Like you do have to say to yourself, well, listen, I'm an old man. My bills come up to a certain amount. And in order for me to have a little bit of money to enjoy myself on a monthly basis, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 is a decent amount. So you have to be sensible about these things. Because see, certain people, when they hear this type of shit, they're like, oh shit, when I'm 65, I could just ball out. Like, no.
Right, exactly.
No, like you can live a comfortable retirement. You can't just fucking ball out. You can't just do whatever the fuck you want to do. You got to look at the money and be smart and budget your situation and then spend the money accordingly. But Baki also said, what does the instability of the world, possible nuke war, affect long-term plans? What keeps you planning long-term? Oh man, for those who don't know what he's talking about, Putin and basically Russia and China just teamed up against America, and they're trying to drive the value of the dollar down and drive the value of the Chinese currency up, and even countries in Africa is siding with China. And China already bought half the Caribbean and half of African mines of cobalt and graphite and all this other shit. So right now, there's a lot of tension in the international and political land field right now. There's a lot of tension. So that's what he's talking about for those who don't know. But anyway, in reference to that question, what do you guys have to say about that? The possible nuclear war and all that type of shit.
Here's what I got to say.
Yeah,
I got you.
No, I mean, what I was gonna say, I'll keep it simple. The value of the dollar will continue to go down. Nothing really increases in value like that all the time, all day, every day. So that's irrelevant, if I'm being honest. I mean, I think that the long version, people look at money, but everything goes down. You buy a car, the value goes down. You age, your body gets old, so the value is always going to go down in everything. But that's why you got to keep always constantly grinding and try to stay ahead of the value going down. Because I mean, anything can happen 20 years from now. You can walk out your house right now and get hit by a car and break your leg and can't work for 6 months. You're going to lose some money. So the goal is always trying to take advantage of opportunities and make more money. Because that's not a real thing. Yeah, it's not a real thing. If that answers it directly, I mean, but that's the real harsh reality. You know what I mean?
So you're saying instability of possible world war is not a real thing?
No, that's not. to me, my personal opinion.
So let me kind of like summarize what you're saying. So in the realm of financial planning, you're not worried about all that shit. You just staying focused on the grind and putting your money away.
Exactly. Because that's why you do those things to prepare for those things. You know what I mean?
You do those things to prepare for that.
Save. You do that, so by the time 65, let's be real, 1.5 will probably only be worth 500,000's value today. You know what I mean? But if you don't even have that by the time you retire, you're going to be way behind the 8 ball if you're not doing nothing.
And to add to your point, you know, and Kaylee, I'm gonna bring it to you when I'm done. To add to your point, the reason why these type of financial vehicles are actually good is because the compounding goes up with inflation. Am I correct?
You are
absolutely.
You are
okay. So to answer the question, look, you know, unless the world fucking blows itself up and we all just die, it won't matter anyway. But other than like the instability don't matter, because if we keep putting our money away, even if something happens with war and depression, the money in the markets will still be adjusted for inflation. So if you actually make it to 65 and we don't blow each other up, you still need to have been putting your money into the policies. But Kayleen, what say you about the instability of the threat of nuclear war and all that?
Got you. So to kind of piggyback on what you guys are saying, a few things. Number one, right? Insurance. We have to keep in mind that it is insurance first and the investment vehicle comes later, right? So insurance has been around for centuries. And what has happened in centuries? We had 2 world wars. The Titanic has sunk, right? And just to clarify, they said that the Titanic didn't even sink. It was a different boat that sank, but they wanted to use Titanic so they can collect insurance money.
Exactly. And to add to the list, we had World War I, II, the Titanic sunk, and John Wick 4 already came out. And y'all niggas ain't see it yet, but go ahead.
Correct. So just to the point of nuclear war and instability,
right?
Don't get me. These things will happen. However, when it comes to insurance, right? Insurance will continue on until there is no more economy, until there is no more market. That is the last standing. How can I say it? The last standing tool that's going to be used in order for this economy to continue going is insurance, no matter what. So I guarantee this is a guarantee that everything else will fail, but insurance will still be there. That's why you pay attention. You need insurance for everything. Everything. That the laptops that we're on right now, the cell phones that we're on right now, the cars that we're driving in right now, all have insurance. Right? There is everything is insurance. So just to give that person, whoever said that, a little more reassurance that the nuclear war, even if it's affected, it's minor. I promise you that insurance is going to be there. So the investment, and let me tell you how compound interest works. It's like the 8th wonder of the world, right? What happens with compound interest? All compound interest is they're letting you know that the amount of years that it takes for your money to double. So the lower the interest rate, the longer that it takes for your money to double. So then if your money is doubling at an 8 to 12% interest rate, it'll only take 7 years for your money to double.
Okay.
And so within the course of time, that's how you go from investing almost 200K to getting 1.5 million in decades later.
Right. And then one last question is 50 Fitzwell. He's a physical massage therapist. He says, can I offer insurance policies through org or club memberships? Like, can you create corporate insurance policies?
So what it is that it's not it won't be a corp. So we have business insurance, right?
Yeah.
So what it is, the insurance is on the individual, right? So an employer can get insurance on his or her employees. They can do that.
But not on clients.
Not on clients. No. It doesn't
unless he became like an insurance agent and sold policies directly, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So 50 Fitzwell, you got to become an insurance agent and sell policies directly. But anyway, guys, we gonna wrap it up. It's 30. We on overtime, man. But I'm glad we back and shout out to all the fans that came back through today. We apologize for canceling last week's show. It won't happen again, right, Rashidi? It won't happen again, right?
Not again, never again.
No, but for real though, like guys, we appreciate you, and we know that we gotta be consistent and shit, and we know that when y'all don't see us, it's an issue, and y'all might not come back because that's how this fucking shit is. That's how the YouTube game is. It's not even a joke. But anyway, we appreciate y'all for coming back through today. Remember, call Kayleen and Rashidi at rktappraisals.com and call 973-420-5028. You guys still do free consultations, right? And they can schedule everything on the website, right?
Correct.
All right, so go to www.rktappraisals.com. Schedule a consultation for your budgeting, for your credit, for your life insurance needs, for real estate, for anything y'all want as far as finances, man. These guys got you. So at least, or just call them to talk if you're lonely. We know a lot of y'all lonely niggas out there, man. For real, man. But anyway, man, we appreciate y'all. That has been the Money Show, man, and appreciate y'all. And yeah, man, that's about it, man. The truth is inside you and all that cool shit. Take it easy.